price of fuel has kept soaring. I cannot even locate my money to pay for goods. It is even worse accessing network to pay for items bought on credit. And with that, we welcome you to our breakfast show, Breakday Niger, on Universal Heritage Television Niger. My name is Afam Echi, your anchor. We are going to discuss the prevailing situation in the country, especially in the southeast, where it has become very, very difficult to access funds. Beyond that, people cannot also access fuel to do their businesses. I have two gentlemen to discuss these matters. On my immediate left is Duru Daniels, a public opinion analyst.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And next to him is Modestus Wamba, SA to Governor Hope Uzodinma on print media.
Thank you very much for having me.
Please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You are all witnesses to what is happening presently. Duru Daniels, when I called you for this program, you told me we are on the ATM queue. Now, I want to ask you, based on what we are experiencing in the land, in Nigeria, do you think the federal government was not prepared for this currency redesign program, that it has become something very, very difficult for people?
Well, thank you once again, Mr. Afam. If you ask me, I will say that I'm not really in the position to say whether the government is prepared for the policy. But I know, to the best of my knowledge, that this policy should be a good one. Just that for now, from my observations, from my findings, for now, I think the policy is being sabotaged. There are people who do not want the policy to work. And that is why they are making it, they are using it to manipulate the people. They are making it not to work. They are making the masses to feel the pain, so much so that, they will see everything wrong about the policy. So, if you ask me whether the government is prepared for it or not, I don't think that should be the bone of contention now or the issue. Because ordinarily, before government comes up with any policy, they must have done their, yes. So for me, it's a good policy if well implemented. If well and sincerely implemented, it should be a good policy. Just that for now, it's being sabotaged.
Yeah, Duru Daniel said there is a case of sabotage. Well, many people had expected that before the CBN rolls out the redesigned policy, they must have put a lot of things into place, knowing fully well the implication it holds for the country and for the CBN if anything goes wrong. Now, it will appear as if things have gone wrong totally. Now, the issue of sabotage, do you look at it in that direction?
Well, let me say quickly that Mr. Emefiele, the CBN governor, appears to be a mischief maker. It appears to his actions are mischievous.
I will beg that.
No.
You mind the way?
No. His mischievousness is not a hard word. It's not harsh. Do you understand? I will defend why I say it's mischievous. You see, you can do the right thing in a wrong way, and that's exactly what he's doing. Any policy, the difference between democracy and dictatorship is public participation and the ownership of every policy of the government by the people. If any policy you introduced into the system that makes people to suffer, that policy is anti-people, and that is exactly what this policy is all about. Altogether, I'm not against the introduction of the new Naira. This is not the first time Nigeria is changing from old Naira to the new Naira. This is not even the first time. We are seeing such in other climes. But this is the first time we are witnessing this level of pressure, this level of discontent, this level of anger on the land. This is the first time. And why? You see, when you ask yourself, why the haste? If he is not mischievous, why the haste now to begin to do this as if Nigeria is ending today and tomorrow? If if in the previous, when a naira is to be redesigned and the central bank wants to withdraw the old one, it is a gradual process. Both the old naira and the new naira will run concurrently for at least 6 months. This one you are giving Nigerians 1 month, 2 weeks to either do this or nothing happens. And now, right now,
let me help you there. Let me help you, but let me inform you. You see, this policy has run for more than 100 days. When it started in October, even the president himself said it, that 100 days is more than enough for Nigerians to change their currency. Now, I don't know whether you are still standing on your position, because Emefiele has also given information that so far they have achieved 75% of recalling old currencies. He said 2.7 trillion is outside the banking system, and so far they have recovered 75%. If they have recovered 75%, are you still insisting that they are in a haste?
No, let me tell you, you are putting the cart before the horse. Now let me tell you, recovering. I heard when you say 2.9 something trillion naira. Now you and I exist in this country. If you recover old ones, how much of that new one have you been able to throw into the system to cushion the ones you have retrieved? The answer is you don't know, because now listen. If you go out today, you discover that the new naira, there's paucity of this new naira. You don't have it, I don't have it. Now, if you do one thing and you fail to do the other one, you end up not, it's as good as you have not done anything. That's why I said they are supposed to run for a minimum of 6 months. Why the old ones are being withdrawn gradually, the new ones are being popped in to the point that the new ones, just like we're talking of cashless policy. Now, you cannot do transfer. The system is not, network is not working. ATM, there's no new naira in the ATM. People are suffering. People do this thing, gradual process. And why now? 2 or 3 weeks to election? This pressure is everywhere. You're not talking of what is the amount of sensitization CBN has done. As to if you go to economy to buy goods, those people you buy ugly. Some of them not even have account number. Even those who have account number, you want to transfer money, the thing will not go, network will not go. You know that CBN governor has even gone after, some people are even blaming bank managers. That the bank managers are holding this money. Bank managers in turn will blame CBN. The CBN has not made available sufficient amount of new naira notes. So who is to blame? But for me, I blame the thing squarely on the CBN governor. That's why I said he's been mischievous.
Okay, now do the honest. Mode is insisting that the CBN governor should be held responsible for not doing so many things right. Now, do you support what he says, given the fact that the CBN has also in turn pushed the matter to the commercial banks, the deposit money banks? See, you can hear Emefiele say that he's disappointed with what they are doing. You may recall that in some places they are seeing people trading on these monies. Like when you allege sabotage, maybe I was expecting the model to see it from that perspective. There was a situation where a governor alone, I think the Kaduna State governor mentioned it, that a governor alone was seen with 500 million. If a governor picked 500 million, you can imagine the impact. And then people are seen throwing this money in parties. And the security agencies have arrested so many persons. In this, based on this, do you think Emefiele should be held responsible? Well,
let me begin by saying this. You see, Nigerian politicians, they have a way of making a mountain out of a molehill. You see, anytime I keep telling people around me and people who care to listen, anytime you see Nigeria, the political class rather, anytime you see them crying about any policy of the government in defense of the people, look at that policy very well. Because now, let me break it down. Now, we were in this country a few months back. We saw what happened during the 8-month stay at home by our students. Our universities, our higher institutions were under lock and key. What did this set of people say? What did they cry this much? We are battling today. I think we have more crisis, more issue with fuel than even this currency. What are this set of people saying? I tell you, they are crying because of this policy, because it's like going to hit them hard or stop them from all the ulterior political motive they have. And that is why, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I want to maintain that standard. It is pure sabotage. I'm happy you have already pointed out the fact that some of the banks, the bank managers, the operation manager, I can give you, I can mention names. On Friday, in Ocean State, the ICPC and CBN, they stormed two different banks. They mentioned the commercial banks, and you will be marveled at their discovery and at what is going on. Personally, I posted it on my Facebook that bank managers are, some of them, who are working in connivance with politicians. The political class are the ones sabotaging this because they are doing business with the new Naira notes. I am very, very convinced. I believe Emefiele so much that he has pushed in enough, he has given them enough, but most of them are not doing what they should do with these currencies. You understand? The one that is flying all around the social media since yesterday is that of, I think it was in Kwara State, where huge sum of new currency was uncovered. A deputy director of CBN led the operation, and these are part of the evidences to show that these people, there are people who are really keen on sabotaging this policy. Sorry, before I round up, when you called me, I told you that I am at ATM line. Listen, let's stop, trying to exaggerate this whole thing. On Friday, I was still the same place, Zenith Bank here in Owerri. You see, the 5 ATM machines we are paying, you will see a long line, but it's moving. I didn't stay there up to 20 minutes, and I collected 20,000 and left. And I tell you, if all the ATM machines, if you go to Bank Road now, all those banks lying up there, I tell you, if they load all their machines, paying 20,000, why wouldn't this money circulate? In fact, I've been doing transactions since Friday. I've not been able, apart from the ones I have done with my phone transfer and with ATM, I've not been able to finish spending the 20,000 naira. You understand? I entered yesterday when my car broke down. I was attending this debate. I had to enter public transport. I paid with the money. That is how it circulates. So let us stop exaggerating this. This policy is a good one. It's just that it's being sabotaged. This remains my stand.
Sabotaged by the political class.
Sure.
Okay, Mode, you seem to insinuate that because this thing, according to you, is being hastily done, and you are querying why so close to the election period. So are you also trying to imply that that is also a design to derail the transition process?
Well, let me not expressly say that, even though a lot of people have insinuated that, and it's not unfounded. As a matter of fact, it's not unfounded because the facts are there. Do you understand? You see, the evil bird cried in the night and the child died in the morning. You can imagine. Now, this policy, I'm not saying the policy is not good. I'm not also ruling out the sabotage. Do you understand? Those things are things that time will take care of naturally. In every policy, you should also plan for the eventuality. Now, the timing, it is poorly timed. It is ill-conceived at this time. Because that was why I said you can do the right thing at the wrong time. This is a very sensitive period. This is a very, very sensitive period. Not every good policy is good for this period. Do you understand? Emefiele has been there for over 8 to 9 years as a CBN governor. He has not done this policy. 29 to election, he initiated this policy. And you see all this brouhaha surrounding the policy. That's what I'm saying. What is the haste? What stops? What injury will he inflict on the CBN or on the system if this policy is allowed? Okay, the other time he insisted that the duration has elapsed, that the period he gave has elapsed. In fact, it took even the presidential candidate of the PDP, that of the APC, everybody were complaining. The pressure was so much until the president apparently he heeded to the popular opinion and he now gave the 10th of February. Election is 25th of February.
Has further extended it to 17th.
Okay, if he has further extended it, good. But I would have loved a situation where the deadline. See, nothing is cast on stone. Anything, I keep saying it, the laws are made for the people, not the people for the law. Any law you make is for the people. And if the people complain about it, you look into it. It is better to err on the side of caution. Now, if Emefiele allow this thing to say, okay, you have the whole of March, a March ending. People will have, you won't have this pressure. Because part of the pressure there is because people are trying to beat up with the deadline. And you saw this. Now you're talking about ATM machines. I also go to ATM machines. If you are lucky to have gone a particular day to ATM and you were lucky to go there as at 11 a.m. yesterday night, I was passing through Bank Road. I still saw a crowd of people line up in ATM machines.
Hoping that money will...
A lot of ATM machines don't pay. If these monies are available, see, cashless policy is a good policy. That's what is obtainable everywhere. Why is our own a problem? Why other countries that introduced that and this operation and is successful, why did they not witness this level of pressure? That means something is wrong somewhere. And remember the other day, House of Rep members, 260 of them representing all of us, they invited them and the man was recalcitrant in attending.
But he answered them.
Eventually, yes, he did. Eventually. And today, because of this policy, the House is contemplating having an emergency sitting.
Okay, well then, let me.
But he was able to convince them.
He was able to.
No, he didn't convince them. If he did, he could have convinced them at the interim until this pressure now exacerbated, and the House is now considering, recalling their break.
Okay.
Recalling themselves from the break.
Let me remind you. One of the reasons for this cashless policy, one of the reasons for the currency redesign, is to avoid the political class from vote buying. You are a member of the APC, aren't you?
And just as you are a member of the PDP, aren't you?
No, I don't belong to any political party.
Okay.
Now, you are working. Are you not the SA to the governor? Because you see, Tinubu, was it not Tinubu that said that the policy was...
okay, are you saying political class? Are you saying APC class? Why are you not willing to Tinubu and the... So it's only Tinubu that...
No, don't get me wrong. Your party, the ruling party, is insisting... Buhari has gone to the UN and said he is going to ensure a free and fair election, that he want to leave a legacy. And these people believe that these are part of the things he is doing, that he doesn't want the political class to buy votes.
Okay, you see...
Now, wait, listen to me. Now, impliedly or otherwise, however way you may see it, we had the APC presidential candidate accuse the government of deliberately putting these things to stop him. It was on air, it was everywhere. So what I'm saying, when you say why in a haste, when you are querying, I'm trying to let you see the other side of what may possibly...
No. See, better we get this thing clear.
Okay.
This political era is the era of accusations and counter-accusations. Just as yesterday, PDP themselves also accused APC of hoarding this money to use it to buy votes. Hoarding this money you are talking about that are scarce now, yes, to buy vote. The other day you are not saying that Tinubu said these things we are targeting at.
Did you not hear it?
No. Let's talk this on.
It's not that I said.
You quoted him.
Yes.
I didn't hear, but that is a material. What I am saying is on the suffix. Now, this is a political period. Forget what politicians say. Anybody who is telling you that this Naira design was only targeted at stopping politicians from buying votes.
It's one of the...
No. I've even heard that part of the reason for this Naira design was also to curb the funding, terrorist funding.
It is part of it.
Fine, fantastic. If those things are the reason for introducing this Naira to stop vote buying, to stop terrorist funding, I support it. Okay. I am for free and fair election. I support free and fair election. But let me tell you, the people suffering this thing are not even the elites. It's the commoners.
Yeah, that is what
listen. If it's for the elites, our Nigerian politicians, I don't want to be particular about any party, they always have their way to go about certain things. Though the policy, I'm not only looking at the policy the way to affect the elite. I'm looking at it straightly.
The way it affects the money.
Now, if the naira is available, that I could, okay, right now the banks are saying you can only withdraw 20,000 naira. Nobody's kicking against it. At least you must have some cash in your pocket. A woman who wants to cook a soup of 14,000, or okay, say cook a soup of 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira, and it takes he goes to the market and buy salt and pepper and this thing. How will you? And it doesn't buy it to a particular person. Maybe one person buys 20 naira or 100 naira from. Now, you see that if he buys from 30 persons or 20 persons, he will begin to do transfer to all of them. He must have some cash. Even the 20,000 naira limit is also inadequate. You see, the money belongs to me. I have option. Let the system work. That I could, if I want to make transfer, my transfer will go seamless and there will be network. If I go to ATM, I could use it by ATM to withdraw my money. That is how it is in the developed nations. It don't limit me how much I will take from my money. In the name of cashless policy, even if you want to do that, granted, but let it be seamless. Not that I will queue in the line and for 20 minutes, say 20 or 30 minutes, when I have other important engagements to catch up. If I'm going to work, I will wait for 20 minutes to withdraw 20,000 naira. I'm saying it's seamless.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the fuel crisis.
Okay.
Now, Mode, I'm still dwelling with you. You know, when you started, you accused Emefiele of introducing a mischievous policy.
Yeah.
He said whatever he's doing is mischievous.
Yes,
now let's talk about oil, the fuel. You know, everybody knows the importance of fuel in our economy. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari is the oil minister that we know today. Now, how will you also describe the situation where the president is the oil minister and yet we are lacking fuel and we cannot do a lot of things? You know, is it also mischievous?
Well, you see, the problem is that, first, let me say that all of us suffer the same thing. I don't buy fuel from the moon, and you buy from the filling stations. We all suffer the same thing, the same fate. I am disappointed with the policymakers that concern this fuel distribution. Even though the last time I checked, there is no increment in the price of petrol in Nigeria. There's no. That now boils down on the chain distribution, the marketers, the oil majors, those who are responsible for this fuel. And that is where I will say that something is fishy, something is wrong somewhere. Before now, I know that government set up different task forces. Because these things we are saying, like this was the first time, all the time fuel was sold as much as 1,000 naira. This already. This was the first time we were with them. But the only difference is that time you could see across the country, you could see people monitoring trim. Some of them will go to filling stations and seal off the filling station and ask you if you don't want to sell at the government regulated price, seal. Some even will dispense, the transport will dispense the fuel at the official rate and take the money and give to the fuel owners. These things we are mechanisms that they were using to checkmate this arbitrary. But this time around, I have not seen much of that. That is where I am a bit disappointed. But altogether, it still boils down on sabotage. These oil majors are the major people, and NNPC, some cabals in NNPC are the people I will blame for this problem we are witnessing now.
Okay, so like still with you, Mode, like there's something you said now, the monitoring team. Imo State has a task force on petroleum. So what actually are they doing? You coming from the angle of government, tell us what is actually happening. That there's no enforcement, nobody is saying anything.
Well, I may not be in the better position to answer that question. You said, of course, you can reach those in that field. However, I know that the governor is very, very angry and is not happy about the development. He, as a governor who cares for the people, he is not happy, and he has said it several in the different fora. You see, the last time you recall that the governor even had a meeting with the marketers, and they assured him that they were going to do the right thing. Okay, now the marketers themselves are also not blaming certain higher level and say that they will only sell what they buy, or what they bought for the amount they bought to the fuel, that they will sell based on, you know. So answering the question on what the government is doing, I will tell you that the government is quietly meeting with the measure. Yeah, you may not have seen much of the task force going around, just as you may not have seen it also nationally. Well, I can't say that there's any state that will have such task force. Maybe it's something that we need to investigate further. Why? Okay. Maybe the governors might be trying to meet the measures at that level, at the higher level. I don't know. I'm not holding brief for them. These are mere assumptions. But what I'm saying is that on the side of the governor, yes, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, he is not happy about he aligns himself with the people, and he's doing everything to get the people to do the right thing. That I can tell you. Okay,
just then, what do you think? Are you seeing anything coming from the government angle? Like he said, the governor aligns himself with the people and is not happy with the development. Is there anything you have perceived coming from the...
Thank you, Mr. Afam. It's really unfortunate that our natural disaster, that's the way I put it, our natural disaster in this part of the world is bad leadership, bad governance. The worst of it is the one we have seen in the hands of the ruling political party presently, APC. The worst of leadership is the one we are currently experiencing. It's really, really unfortunate, and I feel pained each time I want to discuss this issue of fuel. Yeah. Yes, it's unfortunate. Though we have finished discussing the first phase that is talking about the new Naira note.
Yeah, we will still come to it.
Okay, because I have wanted to ask a question there before you move on. No. Because I wanted to find out why APC keeps crying more than other political parties on that policy. Because you have heard from the Labour Party man, coming to say, Nigerians, hold on, this policy is a good one and it's going to work. And even the PDP presidential candidate has also, after calling for extension, has also said, you find out now that the political party, this party seems to, be confused. A situation whereby both are trying to, there seems to be a kind of internal wrangling even among the ruling party. A situation whereby you see a governor, a serving governor, accusing the CBN governor, saying he has ulterior motive. A man who is a carry member of the same political party. Let me not go to that. Let me come to the issue of this war. Is it not very disturbing that up until now, nobody has been held responsible concerning the crisis we have witnessed for how many months now in the country, where the president doubles as a petroleum minister? Is it not very worrisome that up until now, nobody seems to be held responsible, and yet the same people have continued to campaign and make promises to the people? How possible is that? What makes government is accountability, responsiveness. If you cannot hold people responsible, if you cannot make people hold people accountable for actions and inactions to make things work, what are you doing as a government? So we cannot continue to blame and shift the ball, keep blaming people, keep blaming opposition, saying we don't want excuses. And that is why the Labour Party man, sorry, I'm not holding brief for him, but that is why he keeps telling the people in his campaign promises that hold me responsible. I'm not going to shift the blame. I'm not going to say it's because of this. There is this saying that failure in life permits no alibi. All these excuses will not help us, and that is what we are saying in the hands of the ruling party APC. The truth about it is that the fuel crisis is a glaring, how do I put it, reason for this government not to be thinking of coming back to power, because they have failed woefully. There is no form of excuse that will justify the situation we have found ourselves in this country for the past 5 months now. People are selling fuel, arbitrarily at any price. Just sell. I just bought this morning before going to the bank. I bought from what is it called? The biggest station along Aba Road, Empire Energy, 285 naira. you can imagine the difference between what these people, other people are saying, 400, 450, and all of that. It means that everybody, we are all on our own. You know, nobody cares. As for what the government has done, the government is not interested, and that was why I asked the question earlier here. Now, why is it that the government has failed to do anything about this, resolving this fuel crisis? Why is it that the government did not cry as much as they are crying now when our students were at home? It's because they have ulterior motive, which is not in the interest of Nigerian masses.
But you listen very well to him. Now, the summary of what he has said is the fuel crisis, the currency squeeze, everything summed together is as a result of failure of leadership on the ruling government. Do you have anything to do?
Well, you see, it's safer. It's very safer to allege things against government when you are not in government. It's very, very safe to allege. You know, talk is very free. Talk is easy. People can say.
If you have any opinion to the contrary, to what?
No. I'm coming to that now.
Okay.
He said leadership is the problem. No problem. No doubt about it. We have problem with leadership. No doubt. If that is what he wants to hear. Okay. But the problem we are having in this country is not only leadership. The people we are talking about, if you buy something 5 naira and you decide to sell it 30 naira to have overgain, it's not the problem of leadership. Corruption we are talking about, every corruption is from the top to the down. It's not only leadership. You and I have a blame to share in this issue. Because if government, for instance, have not, forget that government may not have done much as to checkmating how these things are being distributed. You can blame them on that. But if government has not increased fuel, and somebody is somewhere who is not in government, because you have advantage of whatever, you not take a direct advantage to undo your fellow citizens. You cannot squarely place it on the side.
The government
hold on. You see, they said if you want to change the society, you start changing from where you stand. Okay, because we are always quick to blame government. Government is not doing well. Government is doing this. Government is doing that. It's not government that will see somebody. It's not government to be. You see somebody who will finish drinking pure water and you drop it on the road. I mean, and if government doesn't come to play, no, I'm coming. What we are saying is that the problem, much as we blame leadership, we should also blame ourselves. This issue of fuel problem. It's not mainly they blame 60% of the blame. It's on the oil marketers, not on government.
Wow.
Yes, the government can be blamed on not monitoring, but not on the distribution. I'm just telling you, it's not government.
60%.
Last week, you know, some people say everything rises and falls with leadership. That leadership is everything. Now, last week, I read in the press, according to Kiale, the man in charge of NNPCL, he said that it is not a supply problem, that fuel is everywhere.
Yes, that's what I want.
There's no scarcity.
That there are over 831 million liters in the marine, you know, and then that he has about 730 million liters in the depot. You know, that the problem is that people are diverting this fuel even outside the country. Now, wait. Are there not people manning the borders of those countries? Wait. You know, when they are talking about leadership, he has said, Daniel said, if government is actually on top of the matter, they would have fired 1 or 2 persons to drum it home. But in this particular, everybody is.
Listen. I agree with you. I agree with you that government has their own share of the blame. Yeah. But the major share. Let me tell you, just like security, there is no society that is completely free from crime. What police and other people do is to mitigate the crime rate. But again, that brings us to proper orientation. We need to be patriotic in our hearts. First, if you are not patriotic, the what you can do is the what you can do. You may block the depots and stop them from moving it out of the country. But you may not also block them from holding it. Even if you stop 10-20% of them, there are still a lot of other persons. So what I'm saying that we need to be patriotic in our minds. There should be a proper. That's where National Agency for National Rotation, whatever. Agency. This is part of their job. Nigerians should be patriotic enough. That is how it is in abroad. That is why you could see in abroad, when you go abroad, when you finish drinking your bottled water, the patriotism in you will tell you that you don't need to drop it on the road. I blame anybody for not picking it. You pick it and drop it at the right place. That's how for society to grow. But our problem here is, you quoted Kyrie, what he said, that there is enough distribution. Yet, we are suffering what we are suffering. We have a lot of Nigerians, including you and I, who are not patriotic. Including Daniels, who is not patriotic. It's not enough for us to come on air and begin to blame everybody, throw blame around government, this and but on our own. And our fellow countrymen and women, how much patriotism do they have? That's a problem we have in this country.
Yeah, it's okay. Now back to the currency squeeze, the cash swap. Now people are reacting. There are various reactions coming from different angles. We have seen in the social media where people have gone nude, stark naked, in protest. There are different ways we have seen a woman, we have seen women.
I saw the guy who ran to the bank.
In Lagos, civil society organizations have protested. There was an encounter between University of Benin students and the soldiers, all over. And there are fears that if the situation persists, something very, very ugly might happen.
Yes, you see, there is a limit to the patience of every human being. Every human being has a limit at which you can stretch his patience. And if you get to that stretch, you can't determine what he or she will do the next minute. That was why I said that the part of the problem we are witnessing in this swap, this currency swap, is the timing. The shortness of the duration of the time.
Are you still talking about timing?
Yes, I'm saying it's on timing. Yes, I'm saying it's on time. Because let me tell you.
Are you saying more than 3 months is not enough for a country to swap its currency?
It is not enough. Before you talk about being enough, you must also talk about the bank making available enough cash. There shouldn't have been any need. For instance, there shouldn't have been any need for anybody to go to ATM machines, and it will queue up. Naturally, when you go to that's part of the things that the banks should have done to insist that from 247, even on Sundays, even on public holidays, that every ATM machine must have cash, new currency. I tell you, but
if they don't have, what do they do?
That's part of the thing I'm telling you.
Saying that's why CBN is monitoring. The CBN is saying money has been given to banks. Like they discovered that I think I read this morning somewhere. I said 285 million was seen somewhere in a bank.
Let me tell you part of the problem. Let me tell you part of the problem. Part of the problem is that there was no proper consultation. The grounds were not adequately prepared before these things took off. Even the other day,
consultation with
the major stakeholders. There are major stakeholders in this country as far as that policy is concerned. A lot of them, even ordinary invitation by the House of Rep, come and explain what we are. It took him some time. It took him almost under compulsion for him to appear. Okay. So those bureau de change people that are now holding and selling those currency.
Yes.
Just that the bank officers that have these ATM machines and ATM ports, giving them the naira, and the ATM people, if you want to withdraw 5,000, you part with 1,000 naira. Okay, those are part of the sabotage he's talking about. I agree. Just because those sabotage were able to be effective. Because the CBN didn't do proper consultation. They didn't do they didn't prepare the grants.
This thing boils down to what you said. We are now a few minutes ago. You were preaching that Nigerians should behave well. Now you are saying it's not just with leadership; it's also with followers.
I agree with you. That's what I said.
Now you see, CBN has done their bit, giving you this money, push it. Now it is not left for the person to push to the end users instead of carrying the whole thing and giving to one person. Because this money CBN discovered in a party. Somebody is now using this money, throwing this money.
I mean, you are too trivial. How much will somebody throw in a party that you are using to give out? Those things are very trivial issues.
No, carrying most of the
how much? Okay. How is the person will throw 200,000 naira? What is 200,000 naira compared to what we are talking about? In that is the case. Those things are not the things. Those things are not the real issues.
What are the real issues?
The real issues are one, that the people who are supposed to be on the know are not on the know. It's CBN that is now coming to tell us that they release daily, according to them, 30 million to each of the branches. Whether real or not real, you
don't believe the CBN?
No, I'm not saying I don't believe. It's their word. It's them that said it now.
Okay. Let's pause a little. Then make your point.
Okay. Yes. Let me begin with the issue of patriotism, which was raised by Mr. Modestus. You see, I don't really understand it when people in government or when the political class continue to talk about the followers being patriotic when they themselves, who should take the lead, have never shown example. I mean, has it really changed? Is it not leadership by example that is adjudged to be the best form of leadership? Yes, the best form of leadership is leadership by example. If you say, my followers, come and do this, are you doing that? Have you done that before? Or even if you have not done that before, are you sure you can do that? Are you sure your son will be part of those doing that? Are you sure your wife or your family members will be part of those doing that? So when we talk about patriotism, please and please, these people should spare us this preaching of Nigerian, the followers being non-patriotic. It is not true. The real non-patriotic Nigerians are the leaders. And I can always say that because they have always said one thing and you will find them at the end of the day doing a different thing altogether. Now, coming to the issue of consultation he talked about. He said CBN governor perhaps did not do proper consultation and all of that. It was the same man who went to House of Representatives after much hues and cry, after much fuming, after much arrest threats and the rest of them. He convinced them, fair and square, he convinced them and walked away. And they are coming back again. It's just that these people have instrument of manipulation, and that is what they are using against the Nigerian masses. If the masses will really listen, they will allow this policy to fly, because it will, at the end of the day, mean well and do well to the masses. And then I think, and I will insist, that it is because of this forthcoming election that the ruling party is crying foul so much about this new policy. And that is why they are making every effort to frustrate this policy. But thank God the president has already told us that come this Friday, he will be taking a very important decision on that policy. So let's wait and see what comes out of it. But it's really unfortunate when you hear members of the ruling party tell you that Emefiele, who is a member of the ruling party, who is working with the government, who got the approval of the president, did not consult, did not do this and that. And you see a serving governor coming to say he has ulterior motive, he did this, he did that. This is really, really unfortunate. But that is not what Nigerians want at this point in time.
Okay, gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the program. Mode, what do you have to tell the government and the people on the current situation Nigerians are facing?
You see, the government, I don't want to, I've tried as much as possible not to sound political in this discussion, even though Daniel has always been political, pushing it here. But it's good he's commenting the president, at least for the policy. You see, there's nothing wrong. It's good that an opposition member commend the president.
I say which is your party?
I'm not a card-carry member of any political party.
The truth of the matter is that our people, the populace, must be conscientized on the need to be patriotic. I've said it, I'm not condemning the policy, but I am condemning the pattern of implementing the policy.
Okay.
And I'm not alone. A lot of people are out there are condemning it. It's not about being a member of any ruling party or not being a member of any ruling party.
You say what is right.
All of us talk about leadership. A leader is not only that person who is holding government position. We are all leaders in our own right. Do you understand? How much of that responsibility bestowed on us, either by God or by God or by whatever, are we discharging? How much of that responsibility are we discharging? So it's not enough to continue. That's what I keep emphasizing. Not enough to continue to blame government every time. Those who are causing this problem are not necessarily government. If government has not increased fuel, the price of fuel, if government has increased the price of fuel, you say, government is insensitive. Why have they increased price of fuel now? But if government has not done that, and yet we are witnessing problem, that means the problem is majorly from our co-commoners. I mean, commoners in the sense that those who are not in government. So you don't really blame it. Look inwards. Forget looking at government. Government may not be doing as much as they expect. People expect them. But not everything should be blamed on government. Leadership by example. If government has not increased fuel, it's leadership by example. So why not the followers? Why not the followers following suit? Thank you very much.
Okay. What do you have to say?
Yes, moving forward. I want to advise, if I can have my way and talk to the president of this country, I will advise that
this is an opportunity. What you are saying, you're taking.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm doing now. I will advise that the president shouldn't, go back on this policy, because this policy, at the end of the day, will do us more good than harm. And I want to beg CBN to continue to monitor the commercial banks, to liaise with the security agents, EFCC is there, ICPC, and the rest of them. Please continue to monitor these banks. It's a matter of weeks. It will not even get weeks. A week or a few days, you will agree with me that this whole dust will, rest. So let them not go back on this policy, because it's a good one, and but they should do well to make sure that the hardship, the effect is not so hard on the masses. Thank you very much.
It's okay, viewers. Here we round off the program. This is the much we can take. Please remember to keep a date with us for another edition. My name is Afam Echi. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. Mother, thank you for coming.
I appreciate it.
Dennis.
Thank you very much.